So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to heat some oil in a large skillet. I'm using a nonstick for this. In some of my skillet recipes, I prefer to use a stainless skillet, but this has got a really yummy cheesy sauce, so the dishes are going to be a whole lot easier with the nonstick. So the recipe starts with 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and I'm just going to, one of the secrets that I have to getting dinner done in a hurry is if you're, doing a chicken recipe, cut the chicken up into small pieces, and it's going to cook that much more quickly. So just, 1 to 2 inch pieces. The smaller you dice them up, the quicker this chicken is going to cook. And this is a very kid-friendly recipe because what kid doesn't like chicken, and it's got cheese in it and some great Mexican flavors. So it's a great way to, get beyond taco night. If your kids love tacos, which I don't think I've ever met a kid that doesn't, and you want to do something different than tacos, try this dish. It's very kid-friendly, and trust me, I've got picky eaters, but they've come a long way because I keep introducing dishes like this with some of the same flavors, but just, different ingredients. All right, so I've got these in little pieces now, and I'm heating up my oil, so it's going to cook this chicken very, very quickly. And that's the way I roll these days. So oil in our skillet. Just want to make sure that the whole pan is covered with some. A non-stick skillet, you don't have to use as much oil, which is really nice. In goes our chicken breasts, and you want to hear that sizzle. If you don't hear the sizzle, wait to make sure that pan's nice and hot before you add the rest of the chicken. The sizzle is going to give it some nice color and some great flavor. And notice how I'm kind of spreading out the chicken in the pan, not overcrowding it, so that I'll get a little color on this chicken. Color is flavor. There we go. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands because I touched that raw chicken. And we're going to season this chicken with a little bit of salt and some chili powder. And we'll do both sides of it. So I'm going to get some tongs. And when the chicken starts to get a little color, we'll flip it over. Perfect. Boy, that smells good. I love the fact, too, that this recipe only takes, they were really big chicken breasts. It really only takes a couple. So if you're buying a packaged chicken, you can really get a couple different meals out of it. If you're buying a package of chicken that has 2 or 4 chicken breasts, it's a great way to stretch your dollar, which I'm all about doing these days. Got a kiddo in college, and you know how that goes. Okay. I want to make sure my chicken is getting color on all sides. So I'm just flipping over the pieces. And I'm going to season the other side with, again, a little more salt and a little of the chili powder. Just going to give it some great flavor. But this is not a real spicy dish at all. You could certainly spice it up if you wanted to and use some of the spicier chili powders, but this is just the regular stuff that I had in my pantry that I use when I'm making chili. Okay. So a few of the things that I always try and keep in my pantry are different types of canned tomatoes, different cream soups. So this recipe calls for 2 cans of the Rotel tomatoes. Those are the tomatoes that are already diced for you, and they've got some green chili, so they have some nice flavor. And canned tomatoes can hang out in your pantry for, you know, a year or two, and it just saves you a trip from going to the grocery store if you need to pull a recipe, a dinner out of the hat. You've got different things like canned tomatoes, canned beans. You know, I always have canned kidney beans and white Great Northern beans and garbanzo beans, canned corn, different things like that on hand that really makes, like I say, pulling off a quick dinner so much easier. It saves you a trip from going to the store. Okay, and then I have in my pantry kind of different sections where, you know, all the canned soups are. You probably do that too, but it just makes life a whole lot easier when you don't have to rifle through all those cans to find the soup you're looking for. The soups are all in one section, the tomatoes are all in another section, the beans in another section. Okay, so our chicken is just about cooked through, and it'll continue cooking. And I'm going to start adding the rest of the ingredients. So we've got the 1 can of cream of chicken soup. Which is going to create a really nice creamy sauce. And then I've got the 2 cans of Rotel tomatoes. Throw it in there, juice and all. Got my heat on high here. Then I'm going to add 1 cup of our wonderful Lamer's milk, which we love to pieces. Local milk, made right in the valley, family-run dairy. And they took first place for their milk, which is pretty tough competition from across the country, so we love it. We love the fact that it comes in a glass bottle, too. So we're adding our milk. It smells so good, you can't even believe it. And now here comes the cheese. So this is a very, as I said, kid-friendly dish, and this cheese melts so wonderfully. I'm actually just going to do some cubed Velveeta cheese, and I cube it up because it melts much easier that way, and that's the reason I'm using a nonstick pan, by the way, because this would be a real sticky mess if you weren't to use that. So when this cheese hits this hot liquid, and because it's in little pieces, it's going to melt up really nicely. And it's just cheesy and wonderful and yummy, yummy, yummy. So in goes our cubed Velveeta. Yeah, how good does this look? And it smells even better. Now for the tortillas in this recipe, normally chicken enchiladas have corn tortillas. And later in the show, I'm going to show you how to make baked corn tortilla chips that you can do in the oven. So those would be wonderful, crushed and sprinkled on top or served with this. But we're going to take a shortcut because this is one of those real, you know, busy weeknights. This is when I make a dish like this. And I've just got a bag of whatever flavor your family loves of Doritos. or tortilla chips, doesn't matter. These just happen to have some great flavor. And what I like to do is serve this piping hot. So our cheese is not quite melted yet, so I want that cheese to melt. So I think what I'll do is we'll take a break. When I come back and this is all melted, I'll crush the chips over the top, and then I garnish the top with, you know, your favorite Mexican fixings. I love sour cream on my enchiladas. You can do some black olives, diced tomatoes. So we'll finish up this dish in just a minute. And by the way, you can get the recipe on our website. Coming up, we are making the best ever, my homemade guacamole, later baked tortilla chips, and we found a place that has some killer margaritas, and they do their margaritas a little bit differently. So we'll check it out coming up. Stay with us.